guys, so this is my review for Vampire Diaries, episode 15, All My Children. So the episode starts off with Elena calling Stefan. Now part of me kind of wants him to answer this phone call, considering the conversation they had in the previous episode, but he doesn't, which I pretty much assumed he wouldn't. So she leaves a message saying that she needs to talk to him about something. And so she then calls Damon. Damon answers the phone, and she says, why haven't you called me? I've called you 8 times, I believe. I didn't really pay too close attention to that. Then he says, well, I was busy, or he didn't say that, but I'm assuming that's what he... Anyway, so, and then she says, well, I need to tell you something, and then she says, if you should really not be mad at me, you shouldn't be mad at me. And he says, oh, it's okay, I'm already over it. He hangs up, and he turns over in the bed, and there we see Rebecca. So Elena picks out her outfit for the day and goes to the Salvatore house, and then we see Damon escorting Rebecca out of the house, and Rebecca says, you shouldn't make a big deal out of this, and he says, don't worry, I wasn't planning to. And then she said, I already assumed you were gonna come crawling to me, or something like that. So Damon opens the door, and Elena is standing right there. Can I just say, this has happened to Elena more than once. This has happened first season, this happened a lot second season, and it's happening again for I don't know how many times this has been, but oh my god, she always walks in on the morning after, and I find that very hysterical. So Rebecca leaves, and Elena immediately assumes that Rebecca compelled Damon to sleep with her, and Damon says, do you really think she had to compel me? And he has that smirk on him, like, do you really think, like, I'm hot, what do you know, I compelled her, or I didn't have, nothing, and Elena's like, what's up with you? So I hurt your feelings, and this is how you get back at me, by sleeping with Rebecca, stating that. And then she says, Rebecca tried to kill me, I can't believe you slept with her, and Damon's like, whatever, kind of tries to brush it off. And Elena says, well, I came here to tell you that Esther is planning on killing Klaus and the whole rest of her family. And Damon's like, great, our problems are solved, we don't have to deal with them anymore. And then Damon says, like, one of my favorite lines in the episode, he says, why do you look like someone just killed a panda bear? And then Elena then tells Damon that how she feels guilty about all of them being killed, especially Elijah, considering Elijah saved her last season, and she just doesn't feel right about letting him die because of how chivalrous and how noble he is, and he doesn't deserve this. And Damon says, and Damon's like, well, don't try to stop this, you can't stop this. This is gonna happen, you can't, And Stefan agrees and says, Klaus will be out of our lives, that's what we wanted, and the rest will just be collateral damage. And of course, Elena doesn't really, she's not gonna accept that, she's still gonna feel guilty about it. Next scene, Rebecca is walking into the house, and back into the mansion, and Cole's like, oh, look at our sister, a trollop, or a tramp, or something along those lines. And Rebecca says, oh, be quiet, Cole. And Cole's like, where were you all night? Not with Matt, were you? And Rebecca says, if you don't shut up, the next thing that's gonna be coming out of your mouth will be your teeth. And then Cole then says that he states that he's bored and he wants to go do something. And Klaus like, well, why don't you just go do it? And he's like, no, I'd be bored, why don't you come with me? It's the least you can do for, daggering me. And Klaus is like, fine, so we'll go. And Rebecca's like, good, there's too many boys in this house anyway. And Cole says, oh, that includes you, Rebecca. And sister-brother, argument there. And then Elijah comes into the room and confronts Rebecca with his suspicions concerning Esther and Finn and their behaviors in the past few days. And he then shows Rebecca the sage that Esther used for the privacy spell when she was talking with Elena. And she's like, he just doesn't feel right. And the whole time I'm like yelling at the TV. I'm like, yes, he should feel suspicious, Eliza. There's something going on. I was like yelling at the TV, and Rebecca doesn't see anything wrong with this, and she doesn't think Elijah should concern himself with what their mother has been doing. She basically like, all she wants is to have us together, have us be a family again. You really shouldn't concern yourself over something that isn't, happening. You should just, let things go. But of course, Elijah doesn't. And during this time, Elena tells Bonnie about the privacy spell that Esther used, and she wants to, try it out and see if it'll work. So, Bonnie's trying it, and this whole time, Elena is talking about Damon sleeping with Rebecca, and they're trying to make it so Caroline can't hear what she's talking about, but of course, the privacy spell, very quickly they've realized that it's not working, and they don't really know how it, they don't, but of course that is soon, forgotten about. And can I just say, the fact that Elena tells a lot of people about the fact that Damon had sex with Rebecca, jealous much? I'm sorry, that's the only thing I kept thinking. I'm like, you're telling everybody about the fact that Damon slept with this girl. I mean, she feels jealous. Obviously, she feels jealous. Then we find out that Esther went to Bonnie's house, and to Bonnie's house, and she was talking with Abigail and Bonnie, and Esther says that she has been channeling their witches' their power from their ancestors' power. And Lena's like, what? Why? You're telling me this now when I was blabbering on and on about Damon and Rebecca and stuff? And Bonnie says, yes, she wants to use us in order to, kill Klaus and the rest of the family. And Lena's like, well, is there any other way for you to stop them? And Bonnie says, why would I want her to stop it? And I'm like yelling at the TV. I'm like, because she's the bad guy. That's why you wanted to stop it. And then that's when Elena tells Bonnie that she feels guilty about having Elijah being killed. Back to what I said, since Elijah helped her survive, helped save her life, she doesn't feel right just standing by and letting him be killed. And that's when Caroline walks in and she says, Elena, you really shouldn't. She basically says, like, you shouldn't feel guilty about it. This is something Esther's doing. You're not a part of this. This shouldn't really concern you. And then Bonnie says, and besides, you can't really do anything about it because by midnight tonight he'll be dead. And Elena's like, what? And that's when we find out that night there's going to be a full moon, and the only way this spell would work is during a celestial event. So in order for Esther to harness the power of the celestial event and then channeling the power from Bonnie's ancestors, that's just gonna, help make the spell happen. And I'm just like, oh, crap-a-doodle. Crap-a-doodle. I didn't really say crap-a-doodle. I just came up with that. How do you like it? So that's when I'm assuming, well, Damon, and then it cuts to Damon and Stefan. Damon definitely believes Elena will find some way to stop this from happening, and that they should watch out for her, and Stefan agrees, of course, and that's when Elijah goes to Elena's house, asking her to walk with him because he has something to show her. And immediately I'm just like, he knows something, or he's gonna find something out. I just had that feeling. I'm like, Elijah's like that, So Elijah takes her walking through these woods, and then he tells her about these tunnels that are underground near around here, where he and Klaus used to hide during the full moon when the werewolves would come out. Then Elijah talks about Elena's trust. Like she likes to tell the truth. You know, her. I don't really know about. I don't exactly really remember his exact words, but he was saying that he was something telling about like her personality or like her, you know, something that he cherished, the way she, you know, presents herself. It's something he cherished before he was turned into a vampire. And then he says, and yet when I asked you what my mother said, you lied to my face. And of course Elena denies it, saying no, Esther just wanted peace, and she just wants to be with her family. And Elijah says, no, I can hear your heartbeat, and whenever you're being deceitful, your heart races. And that's when Elena has to reveal Esther's plan, and she says that when they found out that Esther was in the coffin, they didn't know what to do. The only thing they could sum up in their heads is that whatever's in this coffin could kill Klaus. And when Esther came out, they're like, oh well, Esther could probably kill Klaus, but now it's more than that. And then Elisha says, she wants to kill us all, right? She wants to kill us all, and Elena's like, yes. And then she of course apologizes. She's like, I'm so sorry. If I could do anything, I wish I could help you, you know. And Elijah says, for as long as I've been on this earth, I've known that you should be careful what you wish for. And that's when he stomps the ground, of course, and the ground collapses, and then he into the tunnels that he was talking about before, grabs Elena, he sends her down into the tunnels. So Elena is now trapped inside this tunnel, and then Elijah asks for Rebecca's help in, you know, watching over Elena. And his plan is now, I'm going to just keep Elena hostage, and he tells Damon and Stefan, he says that if you do not stop my mother from killing me and my family, then Rebecca is going to kill Elena. And they're like, oh great, you know, our plan has just been, you know, it was going to be an easy, like, Klaus is going to be killed, all of them are going to be killed, our problem's going to be solved. No, now they have to do the exact opposite of what they've been doing for the past, I don't know how many episodes. Instead of killing Klaus and letting him, you know, killing him, they have to now save him and the rest of most of the original family. So they have until 6 minutes after 9, which is when Esther's power will be at its greatest, and that's when she's going to be able to complete the spell. Now Esther has, of course, asked for the help with Bonnie and Abigail. Abigail helped send Michael back into the coffin, or locked him in the coffin, and Bonnie helped fight Klaus so bravely. Second season. It was second season. Anyway, I forgot for a second there. So it's like, and so I'm like, oh great, so Bonnie's with the bad guys now. Awesome, she's with the bad person. Great, makes me like you even more than I did before. Nope, sarcasm. So yeah, there's that. So Stefan immediately wants to call Bonnie and be like, hey, do you want to help us defeat Esther? And Damon's like, well, we don't know if Bonnie's with Esther or not, and which she is. Quick thinking there, Damon. And you know, they don't know how to defeat and do this. And the only way that Elijah states that they could like stop this from happening is by killing one of the witches. Because by killing one of the witches, the witch ancestors, Bonnie's ancestors, are not going to be too happy with that, thus making them hate Esther and be like, no, you're not going to channel our magic now, bitch. What, you know? So Damon comes up with a new plan. Well, why don't we just, you know, dagger Elijah? Because if he goes down, all the rest of them go down. And of course, Damon can't, and Stefan's like, well, yeah, but the dagger will kill you if you do that. And Damon's like, don't worry, we have I have someone to do that for me. So he enlists the help of Alaric and Caroline. Alaric is in the Mystic Bar with where Klaus and Cole are as well. And he also asks for the help of Caroline. In order to, he asks her in order to distract. He also I'm getting all jumbled up. So he asks for the help of Alaric and Caroline. Caroline is used as a distractionary, a distraction for Klaus in order to get him out of the grill. While Alaric goes and daggers Cole, which he does, and so Finn goes down, Cole obviously goes down, and Rebecca goes down while in the cave, and then Elijah goes down. Of course, we don't see him go down, but we just assume that he does. But the only one that doesn't is Klaus, and he immediately notices that he just stands up and he just feels his chest, and he just looks at Caroline and he's like, "What did you do?" And Caroline's like, "Nothing, I didn't do anything." I'm like, "You dirty bitch, yes you did, okay, you helped, you know. So, yeah, there's that. And can I just say, really quickly, kind of, not really off topic, but I really loved Claire Holt in this episode. I really liked Rebecca. She's so, oh, I love Claire Holt. I love Claire. I love her. I love Rebecca. I love her character, and she was amazing in this episode. Okay, back on to the flow of where I was going. Of course, Klaus finds out, and he goes and attacks Damon and Stefan as they're trying to, drag Cole's body out of the grill. Alaric is also knocked out by Klaus, and Elijah finds out as well after they undagger Cole. Elijah's like, "Did you really think that would have worked, or do you really think that would have helped?" I don't think he said that, but something along the lines of that. So that's when Damon and Stefan realize that that's not going to be they're not going to get, that's not the easy, they can't take the easy way out. That's what I was trying to say. They can't take the easy way out. They have to kill Bonnie or her mother, or find some other way to do, to do something with that. So they decide to go to the old witch house where Bonnie's ancestors are, where the witch ancestors are. And they don't know if they're actually there, but they just assume that they are. And Damon says, "Well, only one of us has to do the deed." And Stefan's like, "Okay." And Damon says, "Okay, tails, I do it. Heads, you do it." He flips the coin. Of course, we don't find out who does it, and we don't find out who gets it. While that's going on, Elijah, Klaus, and Cole, I guess, go to Esther and Finn. They find out where they are. I guess that's used as a distractionary technique. Esther tells Bonnie and Abigail to go into the witch house, and Klaus tries to tell Esther, like, "Stop this, mother, or I'll send you back to hell." And Esther then talks about how she sat there. She had to watch all her children turn into monsters, and she, watched every victim that they killed. And she's like, "Even you, Elijah, with your, sense of nobility, or, sense of nobility and everything, and whatever, yet you still killed, you killed innocents, basically." And Cole, and if you came here to plead for your lives, then it's falling on deaf ears, because I'm not going to save you guys. I created you. I'm going to kill you. Well, and so Bonnie and Abigail are in the house. Bonnie's like, "Well, why don't we just go to the basement?" So she goes to the basement, and then Stefan confronts her and tells her, "If we don't stop this from happening, Elijah's going to kill Elena." And Bonnie's like, "Well, I can't. She's challenging us." And Stefan says, "Well, if you won't stop it, then we'll have to find another way." And Bonnie, of course, immediately thinks, "Oh, you're going to kill somebody, or I'm going to be killed, or someone's going to be killed." And she's like, "No, you can't." And Stefan says, "Well, you can't channel a witch if she's no longer a witch." And that's when we see Damon grab Abigail from behind, feed her his blood, and snap her neck. And thus, the ancestors are pissed, and Esther's like, "What? No, sisters, don't abandon me." her cool accent that she has, and Finn's, you know, and then of course everything, like, it doesn't really explode, but everything just kind of goes to hell. And the spell is now well, not broken, but just unable to be completed because of what Damon had done. Of course, this thus saving the original family and creating a whole new enemy, I am assuming. So you can only assume. Elijah then tells Rebecca that, hey, Stefan and Damon did their thing, you can let Elena go. So she lets Elena go. But of course telling Elena that your vampire boyfriend changed your witch's friend's mom into a vampire. And I'm like, I figured that would happen. Of course, I was just like, she's gonna get killed. At first, I really thought that they're just gonna kill her, but of course they're gonna, like, change her into a vampire, a random, like, let's change her into a vampire. You know, we need another one of those. Of course, then thus begins the part of the episode where I seriously wanted to punch Bonnie in the head, because well, it wasn't really Bonnie because she didn't talk, but Caroline basically says that, well, Bonnie's always the one to get hurt, and I'm like, no, she's not. She's just being a selfish bitch. She always wants to try and make this about herself, and personally, she brought it on herself, because if she hadn't of cavorted with Esther and, you know, went along with Esther's plan, if she hadn't have done that, then her mom would still be a witch and she wouldn't be a vampire right now. She wouldn't be in transition to be a vampire. Okay? So basically, technically it is your fault because you brought that on yourself. And that usually always happens with Bonnie. It's like you're bringing all this shit onto yourself, and but you still want sympathy. And frankly, I don't feel sorry for her. I just don't feel sorry for her. I don't feel sorry for her. I just don't. I can't feel sorry for her. Okay. So, then we also learned that Stefan actually lost the coin toss. He was the one who was supposed to turn Abigail into a vampire, but Damon's like, no, I'll do it myself. You can have, he says, I wanted to try and win Elena, you know, I thought I could win her over, but of course I can't. She likes you, or something along those lines. And he's like, well, there, I left it open. You can now grab her and bring her into your arms. And Stefan's like, no, I'm not good for her. And I'm like, no, you're not. And then he says, and neither are you. And I'm like, I agree with half of what you're saying right now. You're not good for her. Damon's good for her. That's all I have to say. Then Rebecca comes back to the mansion, and she realizes Klaus tells her that Elijah's leaving, Cole has fled, Esther and Finn have also fled, and basically it's just Klaus and her now. And then Rebecca tells Klaus that she found something in the caves while she was keeping Elena hostage, and she says, look at these cave drawings. You know, and that's when they find out that the white oak tree that turned them into vampires and that could also kill them there was a sapling. Even though they burnt the tree, there was a sapling that grew in place of that. So basically means that even though they stopped this from happening, there is now another obstacle in their way, that if someone finds out that there is another white oak tree, that they can also be killed in another way. So that's not a good thing. And of course, I love Rebecca. She's like, it's not over Klaus, or it's not over Nick, or something. Well, I think she call him Nick. I think she's the only one that calls him Nick. She doesn't call him Klaus. She calls him Nick. Well, Esther calls him Nick Klaus, and then everyone else calls him Klaus. Well, no, all of them except Rebecca. She's the only one that calls him Nick. Everyone else either calls him Klaus or Nick Klaus. It's really weird. And I think that's kind of cute. Little, you know, nickname or something like that. I don't know. There's just so many names for him. It's funny. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. It's kind of short. I don't know how it's a little short. It's not as long as my others. But so yeah, if I left anything out, if you want me to clear up anything, if you have any questions for me, please feel free to, ask them in the comments below. Questions for the comments. What do you think is going to happen next episode? Next episode is apparently a flashback to 1912 Damon. It's a little Damon flashback. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this episode. March 15th, really? Come on. Why can't it be like March 8th, which is a week before? Why can't it be like the first week of March? Why does it have to be the second week? Why, TVD? Why? Why do you do this to us? Why do you go on hiatuses? That's like so freaking annoying. Why do you do this to us? So, also, no, I think that's pretty much it. So, please leave your comments below, read the description, please read the boxer drawer for anything I leave in there. It's always a good thing to read the boxer drawer, because I tend to leave leave stuff in there for you guys to check out and everything, like links and shit. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.